Happy New Year to each one of us. We thank God for seeing us through another year and giving us an opportunity to enter into this year 2021. I have entitled my sermon this morning as What is Your Mandate for 2021? What is your mandate for 2021? The year 2020 has been a year of so many uncertainties. Things happen that we never expected. I think for this generation, I mean to say for my generation, there was no year so far as 2020 in terms of unexpected events that we have seen. The last global pandemic that we experienced was what they called Spanish flu, also known as the 1918 flu pandemic, was an unusually deadly influenza pandemic called by the H1N1 influenza A virus. I think it lasted from February 1918 to April 1920. So almost 2 years and few months. And it says it infected 500 million people. That is about the third of the world's population at that time. And it happened in four successive waves, and we are right now in the second wave. The death toll is typically estimated to have been somewhere between 20 to 50 million people, although estimates range from a conservative 17 million to a possibly as high as 100 million, making it one of the deadliest pandemics in human history. What about us now? The COVID-19 we are experiencing today is equally deadly, isn't it? Like the Spanish flu of 1918. I was reading the statistics last night when I was getting my notes together. According to yesterday, around 3 o'clock, there has been around 81 million confirmed cases of COVID-19 so far, 81 million, including 1.8 million deaths reported by the World Health Organization. It has become a global pandemic. It is mostly actually affected in the Western countries, USA and Europe. In Europe, Britain stands as the second in terms of its cases and also in terms of death. As of yesterday, we had 71 plus deaths, and in England and in Britain, and around 2,300,000 plus cases. So you could imagine the impact that COVID-19 had in our lives throughout the year. At the beginning of the year 2020, none of us expected that this is how we will end the year. Things happened in 2020 for which man had no control. First time in my generation, people realized things are happening that man struggled to control. It's over a year since pandemic started, and still we do not have a definite solution to how to sort this problem. As much as the vaccine is out, still there's so many questions. As much as man has control over many things in life, the fact remains that there are certain things that man has no control over. That's what I've realized too. This morning, as I speak about what is your mandate for 2021, I would like to highlight on two things that man has no control over. And also those are the two things that is a must and necessity that we get adjusted or used to if we were to survive 2021 and go with a good mandate. Those two are the time and the change. The time and the change. Now, what is your mandate for 2021? If you were to answer this question properly, it depends on how you handle the time and the change that is ahead of us. Time and change are two great powers that we need to deal with every day of our life. Whether you like it or not, we have to deal with them. Whether we like it or not, time and change are also the two powers that we cannot stop or have control over. So, the success of man's life, or your life and my life, consists of how we use the time and how we manage the change that is happening around us. We become who we are by how we use time and manage the time in our lives. We are a product of time and change. Get this, we are a product of time and change. We must realize that we cannot stop time or change. So we all can, so all that we can do with them is just manage them. And what you will do with time and change, and what you will become in next 5 to 10 years from now, will be the result of how you manage this time and the change that is ahead of us. Let's talk a little bit about the time and the change. Time is such an important commodity in our lives that without which we cannot even survive. It is also a thing that we have no control over, neither can we stop it. Let me give you some quotes that people spoke of when they said talked of time. It says, if you love life, don't waste time, for time is what life is made up of. That's said by Bruce Lee. Time is what we want most, but what we use worst. William Penn said, time is what we want most, but what we use worst. The way we spend our time defines who we are. Jonathan Estrin. The way we spend our time defines who we are. Robin Sharma said, time slips away like grains of sand, never to return again. Another person, Charles Darwin, one of the famous persons, this is what he said. A man who dares to waste 1 hour of time has not discovered the value of life. A man who dares to waste just 1 hour of time has not discovered the value of life. Mason Cooley says, the time I kill is killing me. Another person said, those who make the worst use of their time are the first to complain of its brevity. Thomas Jefferson said, determine never to be idle. No person will have occasion to complain of the want of time who never loses any. It is wonderful how much can be done if we are always doing. Another person, Seneca, said, it's not that we have little time, but more that we waste a good deal of it. I can continue go on these powerful statements, but the point I'm trying to make is time is such an amazing power. Every second, every minute, every hour, every day, every week, every month, every year is a gift from God to each one of us. Each one of us are created for a purpose, and each one of us must find our fulfillment in the purpose for which we have been created, in the time that is given to us while we are on this earth. We do not have eternity, neither do we have time forever to fulfill our assignment that God has given us on this earth. When we think of accountability, we mostly think of that we are all responsible. Um, we mostly think of money, relationships, jobs, God, etc. But have you ever thought that God will also hold us accountable for the time that He has given us and how we use it? Some preachers said God expects a tithe of our time also, not just a tithe in money. Stewardship also includes tithing God with the 24 hours that He had given us. What did I do with the year that just passed? Have you considered? Is yesterday started New Year. From the beginning of New Year, even up to now, have you even considered what have I done with my time in 2020? How did I spend my time in 2020? What did I really accomplish? Have I just complained about COVID-19 and made my life revolve around COVID-19? Or did I use to the best of my ability that the time that I had. In fact, last year was one of the years that most of us had plenty time to do so many because of the restrictions of movement, work from home schemes, and other things. How did we use the time? Did we use it better? Was it useful? We need to ask. How much of it have wasted last year? Watching television or being on internet or social media or other platforms that are sometimes take most of our time. How much of it have I wasted it being with people who have no interest in my own success, in their own success, neither in my own success? It is an unfortunate thing that sometimes our company, the people that we associate with, they don't have dreams for life, neither are they purposeful in living, and yet we still associate with them and we waste our own time too. We are given a very short time on this earth and we are called to live intentionally, making use of every moment, because once time is gone, it is gone for eternity. What did I spend the year on? If you were to ask that question honestly, what will be your answer? You know, Job 14, oh, Job speaks like this. Verse 1 and 2 says, man who is born of a woman is of few days and they are full of trouble. No matter how long you live, even if it is 100 years, it is still a very short time comparison to the eternity. So Job is saying, man who is born of a woman, and it says man, it's woman too. They are full of days, few days, number one, and they're also full of trouble. He says, he comes forth like a flower and fades away. He flees like a shadow and does not continue. That's the kind of time we have on this earth. And verse 5 says, since his days are determined, look at what Job is saying. God exactly knows how many days we live. The number of his months is with you. He's saying to God, Lord, every month that I live, you know about it. You have appointed his limits. God has set a limit to our life so that he cannot pass. There is no way man can decide how long he wants to live. We wish we could live on. Nobody wants to die. Even on the sick bed, troubling everybody around us, we still cry out, I want to live, I want to live. But God has placed a limit on our lives, and no man can pass it. Job says even God knows every month of our life. In fact, God knows every second of our life. Verse 7 says, for there is hope for a tree. If it is cut down, that it will sprout again, and that its tender shoots will not cease. Job is saying, if you cut down the tree, there is hope for the tree because it will sprout again of its tender shoots. But verse 10, he says, but man dies and is laid away. Indeed, he breathes his last, and where is he? He says, trees are better, at least if you cut down, they sprout again. But when man breathes his last, that's the end of his life. And where is he? So Job is saying man is limited. Man has a certain time in which he has to live on this earth. The question is, how do you use the time that you have on this earth and how do you live it? Some of us boast on how long we lived. Being old, sometimes we think that God has blessed me so abundantly. I've celebrated my 70 years. Bible says 70 years is blessed. Bonus 80. I'm 85 now. I'm 90, whatever it could be. It's good to live long and be grateful for that long life. But you know what? Being old doesn't mean that you are blessed. If you say being old is what you're blessed, what about those who die young? Are they cursed? Take Jesus himself. He only lived 33 years. Was he a cursed man because he died young? Is that how we sing? How we think about life? It is not, get this statement. It is not how long you live that matters, but how well you lived in the years that you have is more important. What's the point of living 90, 100, 80, and yet you don't know why you lived for, what you lived for? You wasted all those years. So it's not how long we lived as much as we want to live long. What matters is how well you lived. How much you invested in how long you lived is more important. What are you going to do with another year? 2020 is now a history. It has gone. What are you going to do another year now? 2021. We are on the second day of the year. Your months are numbered, the Bible says. Your days are numbered. What are we going to do with this 2021? Should we sit and moan and grumble and cry like how we did, some of us did in 2020, because the circumstances are odd, they're all against us? Or is there a better way to handle this year? Most of us do not want to die, but also, do we know that we don't even know how to live? Is that how we want to go on this year? I believe it is time that we get our priorities right. We are not here to occupy space on this earth, eat up its resources, and die one day. If that's what is all about life, God has wasted a creation in you and in me. We do not have forever to do what we want to do. Let's get that. Always, sometimes we are tempted to say, well, tomorrow I will do, next year I will do. We do not have forever to do whatever we want to do. In fact, tomorrow is also not guaranteed to us. Those who are alive today, who knows they will be alive tomorrow or not? With the limited time we have, we must make the best use of it. We should never allow the time to control us. That's one of the biggest tragedy in our lives. For some of us, we just allow the time to control us. But we should be able to control the time. Have you wondered why some people do so much in the little time that they have, while there are others who hardly do anything or only do little in the same time that they have? Why is it that within the same given time, some people accomplish so much, while some of us hardly accomplish anything or only little? What's the difference? The difference is how you used and managed your time. That's the difference. Some of us are good and how we manage it, how we use it. Some of us just pass it, we kill it because we don't know what else to do. I remember when I was studying in India, training to be a pastor, there was a teacher, a teacher. He's not in my department, but every time I looked at him, I admired him. He was so studious. He was very young, and yet he was a professor, where maybe few years older than us, and yet he was a professor. And one day, while he was staying here, taking worship in the Friday evening, he told us the secret of his success. He said, "What you know? What for me, time is money." He said, "Time is money. I use it very profitably. Even when I go to the toilet or bathroom, at least when I spend 10 minutes, I take a book with me. At least I could read 2 to 3 pages." No, for some of us, it sounds weird. He's weird, we may think, but he took his time serious. He finished his studies at a young age. He got his doctorate at an young age. He became a professor at an young age. Actually, right now, he is a president of the college in one of the countries in Africa. Why is it that a man can do so much at an young age? Because he said he took his time serious. He said, "I manage time. I don't allow the time to manage me." My dear friends, it's time that we live intentionally. We do not know how long we have, especially children and those in the college and universities. Take your calling serious of what you are called to do. Even us adults, what have we done in all the years? I'm getting into my very soon I'll be 44. What have I accomplished? How much of time of these 44 years have I wasted doing nothing or doing things that really doesn't matter? Have you asked yourself? While some of us are sleeping over time and killing it, there are others who are making the best use of that time that they have, and no wonder they can achieve anything in life. Do you know something? Everybody have the same amount of time. There's no one on earth who could say they have more time while I got less time. 24 hours is given to everyone. It doesn't matter whether you're a Christian or not, rich or not. What it doesn't know nothing comparison. All of us have 24 hours. Everyone on this planet have 24 hours in a day. No one has more, no one has less. We cannot complain that there is not enough time, and that is why I did not do what I am expected to do. Only lazy people complain that they don't have time. The busy people always find time to do something. It's the lazy who say, I don't have time. You become who you are by how you use your 24 hours of time given to you. That's time. What about change? As I said, these are two things that is not in our hands. Change is happening every day, and it is happening all around us, whether you like it or not. You cannot do anything to stop the change. Whether you like it or not, it is happening all the time. Changes are taking place in our physical world, in our spiritual world, and in our personal world. Whether you like it or not, in your own physiology, changes are happening daily. We can't stop it. It is happening. All that I can do is manage the change that is happening around me, that is happening within me. If I'm not conscious of the change that is happening and allow the change to control my life, I may even one day be swept away by the change that is around me. Changes are taking place. What do I do with this constant change that is happening all around me? Do I sit and allow it to take control of my life, or do I take charge of the change and make the best out of what is happening around me? We should not become the victims of change. Rather, we should be the initiators of change. If you become a victim of change, that's the end of your progress in life. Plan the change you want to see in your life. Do not let change change you. You change the change that is coming around you. That's the only way you can combat change that is constant happening around you and still achieve what you can achieve in your life. You know, when I first came to this country, it was March. I came to this country on March 9th, 2004. And I felt a bit cold. And I asked my wife, when is summer coming? She said, yeah, it'll start soon. And April came, May came, June came, July came, and September came. I was still asking her, where is the summer? Well, this is the summer. Well, this is not the summer for me. So winter came. Oh, when October, November came, I couldn't bear that cold. You won't believe I was the most miserable person. Every day complaining. When I get up in the morning, see through the window, it is so gloomy. Don't even feel like getting up. Don't even want to go. Don't even want to take my daughter to school in that cold. All sorts, grumbling, moody. Every day I was complaining, but I had no choice. I have to go. So I have a friend that I met at the school dropping children like me. I would always tell him, you know, I don't like this climate. I don't like this country. I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this change. I don't, everything is, I don't like, I don't like. He said, Mohan, there's only two ways you can sort this out. I said, what is it? Either you get used to the climate or you get rid of it. He said, you cannot get rid of it because that is going to happen whether you like it or not. The only way you want to get rid of it is get out of this country if you don't want it. But if you think you can't do it, get used to it. If you keep complaining like this, you will never be happy. Change is happening. Seasons will come, seasons will go, changes will happen. How you handle those changes is more important. That was a big lesson for me. Either get used to it or get rid of it. I've realized I cannot get rid of it. It's 17 years now. I can't get rid of the cold. It still comes. So what do I do? Get used to it. Change is constant. It is happening everywhere. How you see change, how you handle change makes you who you are and what you want to be. So how do I handle these two great powers of time and change over which I have no control over? As I said, you cannot tell the time to stop, neither can you tell the winter stop. It doesn't happen. They come in their seasons, they go out in their season. The best way to handle time and change all around us is only we can manage them rather than allowing them to manage us. That's what I want you to learn as you go through this year. So the best way to plan for 2021 is to get your priorities right. What is your mandate for 2021? We are living in uncertain times and things doesn't seem to get better. Don't expect the world will be a better place tomorrow. Things may even go worse. We have no control over so many things that's happening around us. The only thing that is within our power is how we use time and how we manage these changes that we have. Your attitude to using your time, your attitude to changes that's around you determine what kind of life you will have in 2021 and beyond. So, what do I do? Make use of the best that is around you and live your life to the fullest potential with intention of what God has planned for you. I want to tell you, do not kill the time or pass time in 2021. I'm guilty of killing time in 2020 in so many ways. I made up my mind this year I want to make use of my time a bit more better. And also I want you to be aware of people who influence you to kill the time. There's so many people who call you, or on social media you meet. What you're doing? Are you free? Let's do this. Let's go there. Let's have this fun. Let's have do that. You know what? Anything that you do that has no purpose is a waste of time. There's so much time we waste on television, internet, social media, and other things with people that has nothing to do with your own development. It just, we don't know what to do. We just kill the time. It is my prayer that 2021 will be an intentional year where you don't let people, you don't let TV, you don't let internet, you don't let anything to control you. Rather, you take the reins in your hand. Learn to say no to everything that you do that has no meaning and purpose attached to your life. Otherwise, this will be another year that will go wasted. We are not called to just to survive, eat, breathe, sleep, and that's it. Stay away from people who have no dreams for their own lives, neither help you in achieving your own dreams. Some of us are so good to be in the company of these people who are aimless people. Surround yourself with people who have dreams, who has best interest for you in their heart. If not, say no. I would rather lose a friend than to have a friend who destroys my own dreams. Friends are not just to pass time. Friends are to help each other, to build each other. There's a saying in English, show me your friend and I'll tell you who you are. We need to be intentional how we live in this year. Anything that you do that does not build your life or help you achieve your goals is a waste of time. Unfortunately, we spend a lot of time, as I said, on all sorts of things that entertain us just to keep us occupied, but they do not push us to the goals that we have set for our lives. So we need to be careful from this year at least to minimize on those things and maximize time on the things that help us achieve our goals. How you use the time that you have determines who you are and what you will become. TV, internet, social media, they're not bad in themselves, but how we use them, for what we use them, will determine what's your purpose is all about. We are not created to occupy the space, as I said, eat up its resources and die one day. Neither are we created to work all the time, pay the bills, and just survive. We must have a plan to live and a plan to die. We must have a purpose to live and a purpose to die. We must take control of our own life and not allow your circumstances and people around you to control. No point of blaming anyone. He always on my nerves. She's always on my nerves. It is because of them I'm not progressing. It is because of what he did I'm not moving forward. No excuses. No excuses. God will not want to hear any excuses. You have your brains. Make your own decisions. It's your life, your future, your goals, your purpose. Someone said, fortune favors the brave. Fortune favors the brave. You can't be sitting on your couch or on your settee watching TV or be on a social media all the time and expect to build six pack. It doesn't work. You may have that best interest in your head, but that is not the place to build six pack. Be real. Some of us have such built so big dreams in our head, but we hardly move an inch to achieve them. All the simple remedy we have is, Lord, help me. Lord, help me. We abuse prayer so much. We abuse prayer so much because we want everything instant. We don't want to do anything about it, but we want it instant. You can't be praying to do miracles when you're not taking any risks to build your life. God will not do for you what you can do for yourselves. He will only do that which you cannot do for yourselves. And He expects you to do what you can do for yourselves. There's no point of praying when you can do for yourselves. Pray for those things that are out of your control, out of your own, that which you cannot do. And the things that you do, the prayer must be about guidance, that God give you right direction, right strength, right mind, right attitude. Not work out a miracle when you can do for yourself. People can roll out the stone at Lazarus' tomb. God did not roll it out. He said, you do it. You can do it. What you cannot do is you cannot wake him up, bring him to life. I will do what you cannot do, but you are to do what you have to do. So he called the people, you roll the stone. I'm not rolling. He doesn't need their help to roll the stone. He could have said, stone, roll away. It would have rolled away. But he said to the people, you roll it out. So he expects you to do what you can do, and he will do for you what you cannot do for yourselves. It is worth praying for those things that we cannot do for ourselves, rather than sitting on our couch, sleeping, eating crisps, and saying, Lord, give me good health, give me good strength. It doesn't make sense. I'm sure there are so many things we have planned in 2020 at the beginning of the year, but some have been fulfilled and maybe some not. I'm not sure about you. About me, I'm talking. Most of the things that I planned never went right. There is no point of regretting for the things that you did not do in 2020. Why? The year is gone now. It is in the past. No point of thinking about them. There's nothing we can do about it. It is gone, and it's gone for eternity. We are right now where we are in 2021. What do I do? What is my mandate for 2021? What are the things that I'm going to do for this year that is ahead of me? Will you allow the time to pass by, and will you allow the time to take control of your life? Or will you take the control of time and change and do the best that you can for every moment? As one author said, everyone dies, but not everyone lives. Not everyone that breathes are living. Some are just surviving. They have no purpose and they have no goal. Some have no cause to live, neither do they have a cause to die. It is a tragedy to live and do not know why you live. As Mark Twain said, two dates important in a man's life is the day he or she is born and the day you discover why you're born. Some of us live for 90 years and we still do not know why we are on this earth. That's the tragedy of living so long and still do not know what you're created for. And those who live for themselves, if you are living only for yourselves, I'm telling you, God has wasted a creation on you, and He's wasted a creation on me. Nothing on this earth lives for itself except for man. He's the most selfish creation that God ever created. God has a purpose for you and for me, and we must fulfill it. And it is my prayer that 2021 will be the beginning if you haven't started it yet. We are put on this earth not just to make a living, but to make a difference. Otherwise, what's the point of life itself? Everyone lives, but only few people make a difference with their life. Isn't that? 7 billion people. Only few people make difference in life. The rest of us survive, die, and that's the end of it. Jeremiah 29:11 says, for I know the thoughts that I think toward you, says the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope. Remember, God has great best interest for us in His heart. He says thoughts that we can't even dream for ourselves, plans that we can't even think for ourselves. He is willing. That's the kind of dream. Every parent have a great dream for their children, isn't it? I want my child to do the best in school. I want my child to become this. I want my child to be there. I want my child, every one of us, no matter how weak they look, the dream is big in our hearts. So also God's dream for you and me is so big. What it limits God is my life, the way I take it. That is what is limiting God. He's got best plans, but I'm not cooperating. I'm not willing to accept. That's why Proverbs 16:3 says what? Commit your plans, commit your works to the Lord and your thoughts, and He will establish it. God cannot force His plans on me. He's got the best plans for me, but I must cooperate with Him. That's why, Lord, What is it that you want me to do? And you may have your own dreams. Commit them to the Lord. The scripture says, commit your thoughts, commit your plans to the Lord, and he will establish it. Unless you go to him, commit it to the Lord, there's nothing he could do. God never forces his will, neither his plans on us. But he inspires us, he initiates. It is up to us whether I want to make that move and seek God's help for the fulfillment of those plans. So plan your life, plan your day, plan your week, plan your month, plan your year, so that it is intentional living, not just passing of time. Make a commitment that despite what the circumstances might be in 2021, I will still achieve the goals that I have for myself and what God wants me to be. People who blame people around them, people who blame circumstances around them, can never, never achieve the potential for which God has created them. They will always be there. In fact, the more you want to do, the more hardships you will face. But we must be able to move forward in spite of the changes and the circumstances that may be against us. Now, one of the first Prime Minister of India, we call Jawaharlal Nehru, one day his cabinet ministers came giving him all excuses why they didn't do what they were expected to do. This is his famous statement. I don't want to hear any excuses. I want the work to be done in spite of the excuses. And that's why I have chosen you to be here. If it is excuses, all that you have, I don't need you in this cabinet. So I am asking each one of us, including me, let's not focus on the excuses. Let's not focus on the circumstances that may go against us. We are called to rise above every circumstances and achieve what God has provided. Why? It is possible. There are people who make use of every bad circumstances to turn it into a fortune, because they have a dream, they have a goal, they have a purpose. And some of us who just pass that time, everything is obstacle. The climate is bad, the winter is bad, the summer is too hot, the winter is too cold. We all have something to complain because we don't have a purpose. Make a commitment, as I said, despite the circumstances in 2021, to achieve something in your life. Set goals and set targets and achieve them one by one. It is said that, listen to this statement, it is said that those who aim at nothing, what is it? Those who aim at nothing will never miss a target. Shall I repeat it again? Those who aim at nothing will never miss a target. I think some of us never miss the target because we don't have a target. It is also said that it is better to plan and fail than fail to plan. Aim at stars, at least you might reach to the clouds. But if you don't even have an aim, where do you go? Can't even move an inch. Beginning of the year is the best time to put the past aside. 2020 is gone. No point of regretting. I wish I should have done that. I wish I would have made use of my time properly. No, forget about it. It is gone. No matter how much you talk about it, think about it, not even an inch or not even a second can you bring it back. It's gone. So let's forget about it. You know, God put time into seasons. That's a good thing. For everything, there is a time and season, Bible says, isn't it? When God created time, he said, there will be mornings and evenings. Then he said seasons, winter, summer, spring, autumn. Once spring is gone, it's gone. Let's prepare for the summer. Once the summer is gone, it is the winter. We need to get ready for every circumstances. No point. Some of us live in winter all the time. Winter never leaves us. Some of us live in summer all the time. Summer never leaves us. No wonder we don't accomplish much. Time is going. Change is happening. We need to adapt to them. The quicker you adapt, the best way you manage, you accomplish much. So beginning of the new year is the best time to put past aside and move forward. What has gone is gone. There is nothing we can do about it. Time and change are two powerful gifts from God. How we use time and how we manage change will determine what you will be in 2021. That's why I've entitled, What is your mandate for 2021? Take some time to reflect on what your life is all about as you walk through this year 2021. Prioritize the things in life that matter to you the most, and that will make you live a purposeful life. Set small and achievable goals to reach and work on them on a daily basis. Don't have big dreams that I'll carry this mountain, I will achieve. No, small goals, achievable goals, because that will motivate you to do many things. Many say, well, I do not want to make any New Year resolutions because by the end of January, I have already given them up. I have this experience. So what's the point of making resolutions? You might be tempted to say that. If you don't make any, then you're living unintentional lives and just passing time. You might have failed in the past, but that doesn't mean you will fail again. Who knows, you may do it better now. So don't determine your life and your future based on your past. It is gone. Let it go. Let's start a fresh start. Let's make new goals. Let's put new targets and new plans in place. Some of us have great dreams, great expectations, and we want to fulfill them without much pain and patience. Let me tell you, it will not happen. No matter how simple the goal is, how small the goal is, it needs time, it needs patience, it needs hard work. Do not forget these virtues, which are a must to achieve what God has put in your heart you want to achieve. That is why make small and achievable goals so that you can, that is the best way to start. What do you want to be remembered for in 2021? Suppose you were asked, what was the most, what were you remembered for in 2020? What will be your answer? What you want people to remember you for 2021? That is determined by what you want to do in 2021. The goals you set, the priorities that you set for yourself will determine what do you want to be remembered for in 2021 by your family, by your church, by your neighbors, by your work colleagues, and your own self for satisfaction. What is it that you want to stand out in 2021? Have you thought about it? What is one thing that you want to do that you never done before? Speaking out your own goals is important. Now, I set goals almost every year, and I failed in some of my goals, but keeping goals has actually helped me to achieve to some extent. So if people, and some people set goals, but they don't tell anyone. You know why? Because they're so scared that if they fail, it is embarrassment, isn't it? But I take the opposite view. You have to speak your goals. You have to speak your goals because for me personally, speaking goals is a motivation to do it. If people know that this is what I said, whether I like it or not, it will motivate me to do it. So that's how sometimes I tell out my goals. I may fail sometimes, but that's okay. At least I'm held accountable because I spoke it out. That's my view. I speak it out. So speaking of goals, I would advise you, speak it out. Tell somebody, you know what, this is what I want to do for this year, because at least that will hold you accountable or make you feel you have to do it because somebody knows you have said it. So for this year, knowing that time and change are constant, that I have no control over, I am called to use time profitably and manage the change. I've decided so many things I thought of, but I won't tell you everything. But at least two things I want to tell you because I want to make sure I want to do this. So these are the two things I felt I will do this year that I haven't done before. One is read at least one book every week. I want to read one book every week. I've read books, so many books in my life, but never constantly. I read it because I have to read because I'm looking for material for sermons. But this year I thought I'm going to read a book every week. I want to read a book every week. Every week I want to read one book, which means by end of this year, I would have read at least, not just one book, at least a book. I would have read at least minimum 52 books. Can you imagine what that will do to you? Can you imagine what that will do to you? So I picked up a book yesterday. I don't know if you can see this. It says, You Can Change. I picked up the best book because this is what I need to do. You Can Change. And I started reading yesterday. And this is what I said I will do it. I actually put a date here, 1/1/21. I want to know how much I'm reading. This book has 200 pages. So what do I do? 1 week has 7 days. Every day, if I read 28 pages, I've completed this book in 1 week. When I put my targets little by little, it becomes easy to complete. Wow, 200 pages. When will I read? If I think like that, then it will discourage me. So I said only 28 pages a day, which would take me half an hour to 45 minutes a day. That is it. I have finished my book. You can change. This is a powerful book. And I'm going to highlight it, read it, understand whatever. So I've decided I'm telling you out so that I will be held accountable. So this is what I did. So and the second thing, the decision I made in terms of this is I want to write a book this year. You won't believe, for some years, people who knew, and even my wife kept telling me, why don't you write? Why don't you write? And you know why I put it off? My English is not good. I'm not good at this. I don't think I'm the best person to write. So many times, every country I went and preached sermons and campaigns, everybody would ask me, Pastor, you should write. You have such great thoughts. You should write. But I always put it aside, saying that my English is not good and I don't think I have the gift of writing. But this year I've determined, well, if my English is not good, that's okay. I can hire somebody to proofread it, isn't it? Look at the excuses, how you can overcome your excuses. So I said, I'm going to write a book. I even thought of a title and I'm trying to work on it. By the end of the year, by God's grace, I want to see that there's a book that I've written that will go out. I'm speaking it out because I want to be held accountable. I want to be held accountable. Otherwise, if I just say it in my mind, who knows, after January, I will put it off. Nobody knows, so be quiet. These are the two things I want to do. But making goals, setting goals is one thing, but being held accountable is another thing, isn't it? If you set goals, but if you don't want to be held accountable, it will not work. We are a generation who don't want to be held accountable. No wonder we accomplish less. So I want to be held accountable. So one thing is, well, as I said, I'm writing every day, the date and all. I'm also going to practice a journal where I write every day what I'm doing, how I'm managing my time. Do you know what? This is the best way to hold yourself accountable. Take a diary. If you don't have a physical diary, there's so many apps that give you like a diary. Just every night before you sleep on that day, few lines, what have you done? Just write down. And after a week, analyze and see. You will be shocked how much of time has gone waste on the things that you could have avoided, things that you don't have to do because they have no purpose in your life. The more you hold yourself accountable, the better you understand your weaknesses, the better you are able to focus on what is important. Try that for a month and you just sit one day and analyze and see how much of time have I put on social media? How much of time have I put on my travel? How much of time have I put on this and that? You will be amazed that most of the time has actually been gone on things that you could easily avoid. Because we don't want to be held accountable, we just pass the time. That's why we don't even know how the time is passing away. So I thought the best way to handle myself is to write a journal, just things that I do, and at least once a week, hold myself accountable and are saying, well, what have I done? How much time have I put in this? That you know what you want, your priorities. So you do that one. And the second one, as I said, was where to handle myself accountable is first you need to hold yourself accountable. Second is you need to have a mentor or someone outside you who should be able to hold you accountable. So I don't know if any one of you would like to help me. I want one of you to hold me accountable. All that I would expect is every month give me a call and say, Pastor, how many books did you read this week? Pastor, how far has it come about your plan of writing a book? Anyone? Anyone who wants to help me? Raise your hand. Or Sister Olivia, thank you very much. And Sister Jane, thank you. Well, Candy, so many of you. I have no choice now. I have no choice. Please hold me accountable. Three of you who raised your hands. All that I expect from you is once a month, not every day. Otherwise, it will put me off. Once a month, Pastor, how many books did you read? Pastor, how far has your writing come about? That is just for me, for my own motivation. I will hold myself accountable, but I want somebody outside of me also to hold myself accountable. Thank you for three of you. And I want, by God's grace and with your motivation, I want to accomplish this. I never done this before, but I want my year 2021 to be an year where I'm living intentionally for my health, for my family, for my profession, for everything I do. Otherwise, another year will go waste. So these are the two things I have thought I will do for myself. And I hope these things will help you. There is no point of setting goals, as I said, if you don't want to be held accountable. I have chosen these two ways to hold myself accountable. So I hope that you will also do by the grace of God and proper planning and making best use of the time and the change that is around me. I'm confident that these two goals can be achieved by the end of the year. But the question is, what about you? Have you thought of anything like that? Time and change do not wait for anyone. Those who do not know how to use time or manage change can never achieve the potential for which they are created for. There is no excuse for failing in life. My dear friends and my dear church, get this. There is no excuse for failing in life. No point of saying, I don't have money, I'm not educated, I have this. No excuse is excusable. Neither can you blame time, people, money, or circumstances. I couldn't do it because my marriage broke, my child is like this, my finance. No, no, no. Where there is a will, there is a way. Do you know what? Just this morning, my little daughter, Rosanna, she was going through my phone just this morning, and she every day checks me on how many steps I walk. And she said, Daddy, let me check how many steps you walked on your birthday last year, March 4th. You know what she said? She saw it, and I got a shock of my life. 136 steps. In 24 hours, March 4th, 2020, all that I walked was 134 steps. That shows how lazy I had been on that day. What is 136 steps? Go to the toilet and come back? Is that what all I did? So from July 18th last year, I made up my mind. After this heart attack and all the other troubles I had, I would take my health serious. From July 18th, if you meet me, you ask my phone, I'll show you. Till today, from July 18th till today, I never missed one day of walking 10,000 steps or 7 kilometers, which is 4 miles per day. No winter, no summer, no rain, nothing stopped me. Nothing stopped me. You know what that taught me? Where there is a will, there is a way. If it was like my birthday, sit on the bed and enjoy, just eat snacks and everything, chicken curry, fish fry, and think that's life, I would have wasted. From 18th of last year till date, I've never missed one day. No circumstances stopped me. There were times where I didn't even do steps until 10 o'clock in the night, only 2,000, 3,000, or 1 kilometer. I made sure before midnight hits, I hit my target. I was walking 11 o'clock, 11:30 in the night, making sure I don't miss my target. I'm not telling you, I'm not boasting you. It's a struggle. There were times I thought, well, what happens if I just miss one day? Those thoughts came, but I said no. Once I give excuse and miss one day, that would lead me to another excuse. That would lead me to another excuse. So as long as my health contributes to me, supports me, let me walk. If I'm bedridden, that's a different story. So I'm telling you, if we plan to live intentionally, everything is possible. Anything is achievable. I don't want the year 2021 to be like 2020. Want to do something different, want to make a difference, want to live a different life. All is possible. So I'm just encouraging you. It is my prayer. Commit your plans to God on a daily basis for his intervention. Write them down, pray them, and work on them. Think about them, live intentionally about them. Talk to God on a daily basis. Lord, this is what I want to do for today. Give me the strength to do it. Make your goals small and achieve them step by step. Commit your plans to him, and the Bible says he will establish them for you. Let me close with the title of my sermon. What is your mandate for 2021? Ask this question seriously and answer it intentionally. Ask it seriously and answer it intentionally. It is my prayer that your year 2021 will be the beginning of great things for you and for your family. I pray that it will be the year where you live intentionally and live to make a difference. God bless you, and I wish you God's richest blessings. and a happy new year 2021. God bless you all. Amen.